podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to NQ80 Daily. I'm Ed, today with Dominic. How's it going, Dominic?
I'm good, thank you, Ed. I'm in nostalgic mood. I guess this is NQ80 nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about lockdown football. 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago. I just can't believe it. Like,
I feel old.
How has the time gone? I know this is old man shouting at clouds vibes, this has, but I don't know where those 5 years have gone. I remember sitting in my office. We had a big conference on at my workplace, and we were trawling through the websites to look at all the giant masks with big air filters on, because we're like, if we have to go to a conference with tens of thousands of people, we're 100% getting COVID and we better protect ourselves. Just where has it gone? And then, of course, just over 5 years since the Premier League was suspended. We had that one. What was it? Arsenal versus Atletico? I forget who it was. Liverpool
Atletico, wasn't it? Yeah,
Liverpool Atletico.
Spreader game.
The super spreader event. Then we had the Cheltenham Festival, and then finally all sporting stuff got cancelled. And we went into this period of, we had a 6-week break or something like that. I can't remember how much it was. Then Project Restart came along with lockdown football.
Yeah, it was a 3-month break. I'm looking at the dates now.
Break.
So
wow.
United played their last game before COVID on the 12th of March. That was behind closed doors against Lask Linz, if you remember that, a 5-0 Europa League game. And then, didn't restart till June the 19th with that 1-1 against Spurs when Roy Keane lost his absolute mind on British television. I think he just hadn't had anything to talk about for 3 months. So just went mental at De Gea and Maguire, who made a mistake for for the Spurs goal. But that's very, very fresh in my mind, that whole period, to be honest. It like you say, it is crazy that it's 5 years ago. I think we'll probably get into it in the pod, but some of the most enjoyable United football in the post-Fergie year.
Oh, God, yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
It was brilliant. I mean, I during lockdown, during that 3-month period, Paul and I did a bunch of retro pods looking at old games. We took it really seriously as well. Someone had spun up a website with all these old games on it. Forget what it was called now. And so watched all the games, took notes, because you can't, like with current football, you just kind of riff on the same themes and you can take a few notes during the game, but it doesn't have to be really detailed. If you're looking at a 50-year-old game, you have to be really detailed. So I was like watching these, taking notes, being serious about it, watching United versus Liverpool from 1985 or whatever else we did. And that was fun for a while until it became kind of a bit of a chore. And then when football came back and it was just football, every single game was televised and there was nothing else to do and everyone's working from home. I just watched absolutely everything I could possibly get my hands on. Yeah,
I remember very distinctly clearing the television, making sure my girlfriend wasn't going to watch. I don't know what we were watching at the time. What was it? Tiger King was the big thing on Netflix at the time. But I remember clearing out the TV room and saying, it's Dortmund against Schalke tonight. It's the first football of any kind live for 2.5 months, whatever. We have to watch it. And I was actually watching from a work point of view as well at that time, because I was working for the Manchester Evening News. We were covering in depth the every move and breath of Jadon Sancho at that point, because he was a big, big United target. I can't remember what he did in the game. I think he actually played quite well. Haaland played as well. And I was like, I have to actually cover this game for work. It's a live game. And I'd been like with you with the old games and nostalgia. I'd been writing about, God knows, 01-02 season, Ruud van Nistelrooy and like basically Premier League years, but on a page for the last couple of months. So I was so grateful for those games being on TV.
Yeah, my wife is not that interested in football, so she just didn't care. But she was a bit like, "Why are you watching 3 games today?"
It was Sheffield United Villa was that first one back. And do you remember? And they forgot to turn on the goal line technology.
Yeah,
and there was a goal that went over the line. They didn't even have it switched on. Even the referees and the VARs had logged off for COVID, had gone on furlough or something like that.
With some, I forget which channel it was, you could turn the sound on and off, the fake sound. Like some of them, they wouldn't let you do it. I hated that. It just felt so weird and false.
I actually didn't mind. I think I got used to it. It was a big sort of debate. Are you fake sound on or fake sound off kind of guy? I must admit, it didn't bother me too much. I remember it distinctly when United, I think it was still in lockdown. It was the next season. There was still no crowds. United got pumped 6-1 by Spurs at home. There were definitely no crowds in that, but I remember turning the fake crowd noise off in anger during that game because I just couldn't be doing with this ridiculous noise of crowds cheering. I mean, it was at Old Trafford anyway. Crowds cheering for absolute disaster class from Maguire or whoever. Yeah.
And he got some intern in the Sky Sports truck pressing the button as quick as he could, but didn't quite line up. And it was all slightly odd. I quite enjoyed the very unusual ability to listen to what the coaches and the players were saying. And it'd be like, Harry, fucking get there, Harry. Yeah.
It was nowhere near as sort of in-depth and complex as you wanted it to be, I remember.
No. I can imagine, you can't hear him very well, obviously, now, but I imagine Ruben Amorim's on there. When he's not got his head in his hands and crouching Bielsa-like, he's given some pretty detailed instructions out. But yeah, the ability to listen to that was quite kind of cool, actually, and different. And just the sheer amount of football of any flavour and type that you could get hold of at the time, and everything was on. I mean, you can watch pretty much 4 or 5 games a day as it is.
Yeah.
If you really are minded to do so, but that was just peak. We're just going to absorb football right now because that's what we want, because we haven't had it for months.
It was kind of strange in a way as well that there was something to play for, and it did matter, but it mattered in a different way because there were no fans, and even the celebrations were different. You know, you had players sort of not celebrating anywhere near as much as they would have done. You had bizarre results as well. The crowd not taking effect. You know, the Villa 7-2 against Liverpool springs to mind, which I think might have been on the same day as United losing 6-1 to Spurs. I think they're both on the same day. United obviously had that amazing away run as well under Solskjaer that went through COVID times and a little bit outside of them. And would that have happened if crowds had been in every single ground? Judging on their record away from home under Ten Hag afterwards, probably not, because it became such a struggle away from home when the crowds came back in. I do wonder if that was a sort of duality from COVID.
I mean, I guess it's partly that, and partly the team that Ollie had built was so efficient on the counter-attack and seemed to be quite, compared to recent times, seemed to be quite steely. They had that record of, they kept coming back as well after conceding the first goal, especially away from home. So yeah, maybe the two things counted. People use that as a stick to beat Ollie with. Oh, it's COVID football, lockdown, no crowds. You can't really count it in his finishing second and third during that time.
No, because it's the same for every single team, wasn't it? So you can't really do that. And
it's a bit
like
unfair.
You say, the mentality of that team was really good, and it was built in such a way to accentuate its strengths. And its strengths was pace going forward, explosive attacking moments from very, very talented forward players. What was the sort of standard front four? Bruno in the 10, Rashford, Martial, maybe Greenwood or whoever else, maybe Pogba playing in the front four as well. And then Fred and McTominay just shuffling up and down in midfield to cover for a front four that was basically just interested in attacking.
Who knew he'd have nostalgia for that lot? It's just perfect.
I feel so vindicated for this though, because I think I've said on the pod before that I'm a big Fred fan, or was a big Fred fan.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he gave something that he wasn't perfect. And I think Daniel slanders him on this podcast, but I'll let go because I know that Fred had flaws. I'm not blind to that fact, but he was such a hard worker, and he just ran his arse off every single game. He'd make 5 mistakes, but he'd do 5 brilliant things as well in each game. And I just feel like his attitude was perfect for Ollie. I know, and I can see why Ollie liked him and McTominay doing those hard yards.
Yeah.
And there'll be forever a debate that we're still having now about United, that we need a ball playing deep flying midfielder. And we've cycled through players since then and still not found that player. Maybe that player doesn't suit United, or who knows, but I just remember that being such a big debate at the time. And I actually don't think it would have suited that team to get that player. Maybe there was a sort of a proper DM, as the kids say, proper defensive midfielder. Declan Rice was the one that we spoke about at the time, I think, that would have suited that side and improved on Fred and McTominay. But
for sure, yeah. I mean, I think with the benefit of 5 years of hindsight, we were told, or we said, or the United fan base wanted a more sophisticated coach and more sophisticated players, and it hasn't worked for us. I mean, not that I'm saying that you can't build a more sophisticated possession-based side that has more complicated strategies and tactics and can change in game, because it is probably true that Ollie's teams were more one-dimensional, but they were one-dimensional playing to their strengths. And we've cycled through hundreds of millions of pounds since then, and 3 different managers, and gone backwards quite sharply.
And the goals, we've never hit that attacking, rich vein of attacking form since then. It not got anywhere near it in terms of the goals that we scored.
This episode is brought to you in association with NordVPN. For those of you who don't know, VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It secures your connection, protecting your personal information and online activity, especially on public Wi-Fi. The VPN enables your phone or laptop to switch its virtual location to another country, which is great for accessing your favorite content while you're traveling. Long-time listeners will know that I've spent a good part of the last 20 years on a plane. I've recorded this podcast in places from Tokyo to Old Trafford, New York to the Northern Quarter, and a VPN has been absolutely essential to watching the game while I'm abroad. True story. I once racked up a £1,500 phone bill watching a United game while I was in Shanghai. I was on my work phone and I blamed it on video calls back to the office. The key lesson of this story is not how to scam your employee out of a large phone bill, but that I couldn't have watched the United game without a VPN. It's been a real lifesaver. If you want to try NordVPN for yourself, go to nordvpn.com/NQAT, and our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. It's the best discount available and equivalent to the price of coffee per month. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is also in the podcast show notes if you need it. I think it's okay to look back on that time and go, that was some of the best football we've seen post-Fergie under Ollie. You know, a lot of brilliant goals. Think about the sort of 3 touches from back to front against Brighton and other goals of it. Yeah, it's just brilliant.
Couple against Newcastle away, that 4-1 win at Newcastle. Bruno going around the outside, Wan-Bissaka scoring in that game. Just brilliant, rapid attacking football. It would be Leipzig 5-0, by the way, in the Champions League in that season.
We did,
Just some of the results are great. 9-0, obviously, against Southampton. 6-2 at home to Leeds. You remember that one with the 2 McTominay goals early doors? Multiple wins against Guardiola City. I mean, we were spoiled, really.
Wow. What nostalgia. Who knew?
We didn't know it, but we were.
Well, that's it. I mean, we're 5 years post-Fergie, or 6, as we're coming into this period, and maybe a bit more. And we're still thinking, okay, how do we get back to number 1, number 2? How do we make that incremental improvement? And I think, to be fair to the United fan base, I just slandered then by going, actually, you didn't know we had it so good. Everyone was still in that mode. We should be number 1. How do we get back to number 1? Ollie can't be the guy who's going to get us back to number 1. Look how basic his tactics are. Little did we know how bad it would get post Ollie leaving, and obviously in the last few months of his time there, the bigger results that went against him once the crowds came back and Ronaldo joined the team, and the various disruptions that happened to his model there, and perhaps he went to try and build a more possession-based side as well, not just being a transitional side. And it all went wrong. Yeah, he's kind of admitted that as well, and little did we know how good we got. Yeah.
I think it was a shame to hear him say that, and that he felt the pressure to do that, because it obviously was because of the clamour of the fans and fans back in stadiums. That definitely played its part. United had that pressure to dominate possession and to go toe-to-toe with the best sides. And it was that run, wasn't it? The City-Liverpool sort of defeat against Spurs in there. I know we actually beat Spurs 3-0, but there was Liverpool-Leicester away. That run, and that really did for him. And what he said on the overlap, that it made me quite sad, actually, when he was like, I just thought that we needed to change. I had to go away from what I was doing, and it just all fell apart. And it was the Sancho, Varane, Ronaldo summer, which we all thought, well, this is gonna push us towards title challenge for sure, having finished second that previous season. It's just funny the way these things happen, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, and both the Sancho and we're still paying for Sancho, as Sir Jim likes to point out, and may or may not be leaving for Chelsea this summer, depending on how much Chelsea hate him, because the fans certainly don't like.
Could be paying us to keep him. I mean, what a crazy situation for the player that we vaunted and coveted for so long.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
I, amongst many others, I guess got it completely wrong. I didn't think he could fail. He was just so good at Dortmund.
He was electric.
It brought him in, and we already had Martial and Rashford who liked to play off the left. And he, I guess, Oli saw him as playing off the right. He didn't want to do that. It disrupted the rhythm. He was not this quick, rapid player.
I never got that thing about the right and the left, though, because he played on the right for Dortmund so much.
He did, but he basically split his time between left and right, both of them.
So I'd never got it.
It was interesting because if you look at his numbers from that time, he had about even goals and assists when playing off the left, and his assists went up and his goals went down playing off the right. But it's still extremely productive. But it just, whatever happened when he came, it disrupted things. And then obviously Ronaldo meant that playing transitional football was almost impossible with a 40-year-old up front, or 30, whatever he was at the time. But Oli has always sort of maintained that, he signed off on that as well. So he's never sought to sort of pin that one on Murtaugh and Ed Woodward, which he could do if he wanted. So Jim is certainly pinning stuff on Ed Woodward right now.
Well, so Jim would never have signed off on Ronaldo because of the cost involved. But
oh, God, no.
I think the Glazers obviously saw it as a huge marketing tool at the time. And Oli was a nostalgia merchant, wasn't he? And we love him for it. And he couldn't say no to it either, especially with the prospect of City coming in for him, which I still believe was the case, by the way. People say that was a George Mendes-induced smokescreen. I don't think it was. I think there was some interest. Whether United bit too hard on trying to get him after hearing of the interest, I think probably they did. It did kind of... There was no United fan who didn't really want it to happen. There was a few doubting Thomases. But, hindsight is a wonderful thing. We all wanted it to happen. We all bought into the romance of it and actually thought from a footballing point of view that it could just bring that ruthlessness that the team was potentially lacking. We know what happened next, and I think it was the sort of one of the main disruptors of that Oli side that broke it up.
Yeah, it seems to be. And then obviously Ten Hag was having none of it. One of the many things that United have backed him over. I'm not sure Ronaldo did his United reputation much good running to Piers Morgan, like a little baby.
Never a good option for anyone.
No, dearie me. Dearie me. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Looking back now, just what a great time. Terrible time. I don't know about you, but my hair started falling out at that time. It was a lot of stress.
I was only 26. I don't. Let's not go too early on. I'm still holding on strong now at 31. So
I know. Me too. Just about. It was like everyone had a story to tell at that time. Our company that I was working for was in some financial dire straits due to COVID restrictions on stuff like that. So it's stressful. The school sending the kids home. I know from that period that I would not be a good teacher. And there was no football until there was. And it was glorious just being able to watch 3, 4, 5 games a day. Ollie's United being rampant, scoring goals, attacking football. McFred we dismissed as rubbish in midfield. Turns out they're quite good. It could get a lot worse.
Turns out you could have got Amrabat and Casemiro running through treacle a few years later. So, yeah, just be careful what you wish for.
Amazing.
There's just
stuff.
some standout moments for me. I just think that semi-final against Roma.
Yeah.
In terms of the football that was being produced then, Cavani, his role in it all. Such a shame that Old Trafford never really got more of a chance to appreciate Cavani, and that he didn't come a bit earlier when he was even better. But what a footballer. And his work rate, even at 33, 34, whatever he was, when he came to United was incredible. And he didn't come with an ego. He did slot in.
Yeah.
Him, Bruno and Pogba in that Roma game were just sensational. And that was the kind of football that I think Ollie wanted to play at its very best. To take it from the sort of squad that we had in the 2019 summer. And I remember this period so well because my job was to write about United for the Manchester Evening News. So every game stands out to me. But that squad in 2019, when Lukaku wasn't replaced, Daniel James was one of the main signings, Andreas Pereira was still holding down a role in midfield. So then a couple of years later, some of the players were the same. Ollie had just improved them. The likes of Rashford, Luke Shaw, and I guess Fred and McTominay as well. But then he added these players who seemed like they were proper fits, and we're still seeing the rewards of that in Bruno right now. And even like Wan-Bissaka, when he first arrived, solid as a rock. Maguire's first season, really, really solid.
Yeah.
It was sort of a team that you could feel a connection to, and that's what we're still missing now. And it wasn't the greatest
I fully agree.
in history, but it was something to latch onto from my point of view. Anyway, some people might really disagree with what I'm saying.
No, I think that was a likable side. I mean, they took on the personality of the manager, who is super likable. He's one of us, right? Club legend, scored one of the most important goals in 150 years of the club's history, and just a likable guy. And behind the scenes, plenty of steel too. Not sure that everyone saw that. I think people dismissed him wrongly as a PE teacher. Just that's offensive just because he's a better manager than that, but also he's got more about him than that as well. And I think that rubbed off on this side. All those comebacks, the record away from home, the ability to beat City, as you said, in some really big games repeatedly as well, scoring some great goals as well.
Why do you think the cynicism exists around Solskjaer? Because it definitely is there still now in looking back.
There's a bit of snobbery because he hadn't managed a big team before. He'd managed Mulder and Cardiff. So there's that. And he hadn't built something in a fashionable league or even a hipster league. And driven by sort of online narrative of people who had a particular agenda at the time. Tacticos dismissing his football as one-dimensional, which it may have been, but effectively one-dimensional. He actually paid the price for trying to make it multi-dimensional and be more sophisticated. So it's a very easy thing to do. Go look at the numbers and look at the data and then just dismiss a player or in fact, the other way around, go, yeah, I've seen this guy 2 times. He's definitely world-class, no doubt about it. And there's some of that, just a need for immediacy and a take that's at one pole or another, and Ollie suffered for that, I think. But he's a better manager.
There's a bit of a culture war as well between the sort of Mourinho revisionists and the Solskjaer revisionist maybe as well.
There was, yeah.
And where do you put yourself in those two camps? Mourinho obviously had the trophies. Solskjaer, I think, rightly said you can set too much store in trophies. And the Carabao Cup, what does it actually say about how good you are? Not a lot. It gives you a good day out of Wembley. But if that United team under Ollie had won the Carabao Cup once, would that make them a better side? I don't think it did.
It wouldn't have made them a better side, or in fact, in a historical setting, if you zoom out a little bit, we wouldn't have said this was amongst the great United sides, even if they'd won. Even if they'd won the Europa, really, you could kind of go, well, it's the league that determines, really, and United haven't won the league for 12 years now. And so, in a sense, yeah, he's absolutely right. But fans also won the trophies. I mean, it's like, there's not a single United fan didn't enjoy that FA Cup. Ten Hag still deserved the sack and should have been sacked, and it's now everyone.
It's hard to separate the two things, isn't it? Sometimes, and it was hard. It's hard to look back at the Ollie and think, oh, if only he'd won a trophy. And the Europa League will remain a real sore night for a lot of fans, and for me particularly, I haven't forgiven David De Gea for it. And that might seem really bitter and very, very personal, but you just cannot dive out of the way of 11 penalties and then miss one yourself.
No.
And that has sort of, for me and for other fans, I'm sure, put a bit of a tarnish on what was otherwise a really stellar career for De Gea. It will rankle with Ollie, I'm sure, as well, that night.
He would never say it because he's a nice guy. But, well, at least he would never blame David De Gea for it. But, yeah, I'm sure Ollie has a lot of regrets about that night. One penalty kick away. All right, let's leave it there. That's wonderful. Look back. 5 years since lockdown football. Amazing stuff.
Sorry to finish on a downer as well with that final, but there we go. Maybe that's very appropriate given the time.
You know what? What has it taught us? It can always get worse.